Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, you're listening to World Combat Sports. Back with another one tonight. You know what I'm saying? It's the first day of December. It gets us that much closer to closing out the year 2020. You know what it is, but we got to talk about the numbers, y'all. They say numbers don't lie. People do. In this particular case with Roy Jones and Mike Tyson, I know. I was trying to tell people. I'll say the numbers ain't adding up. How are they going to break PPV numbers? Old fighters, legends. Is it potentially possible for them to break PPV numbers? Now, of course, we're going to factor in social media numbers, the reaches and the inquiries via Google and everything else that has to go along with it. But when these guys was fighting, social media, in some fights weren't prevalent. Social media was not prevalent. And, the way people heard about it was over the phone and mouth to mouth. You know what I'm saying? Conversation, that's what it was. But when the numbers was coming out for this particular fight, they was quick to elevate it up to some of the best fights we ever had. Let's take a look at this particular source. Now, when we was hearing it, we was hearing that this fight right here was breaking all the numbers. We talking about Floyd Floyd Conor, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. We was hearing all those bloviated, exaggerated numbers. This source right here say Tyson PPV did over 1 million buys, could tabulate to 1.2 as high as 1.5. All right. And just put that up there, just let y'all see the receipt, right? So when I was hearing these numbers, I was saying to myself, like, where and who was authorized to put out false information like this? Because we can take it for $49.99, but the undercard was damn near trash. Seriously, the undercard. What I mean by that is like it was no names on there just to draw in the viewing audience to say, hey, I want to look at that fight outside of Roy Jones and Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't give you that gravitating moment where you're gonna perk the fuck up. It was people that was getting on the phone. I know that. People was calling up, hey, you're gonna get the fight, you're gonna drop the link, you're gonna do this, and this. People was calling around and they was trying to decide because Badu Jack is not the most popular dude in boxing. People respect him, but he's not the most popular. You know what I'm saying? Good guy, but they didn't quite understand why he was on this card. And then, of course, the main event, we all know what happened with that. We already seen it on the zone, on how KSI and Logan Paul, was paid what they was paid. And I'm going to get into that also about the purses. But I just wanted to touch bases on the bloviated PPV numbers when it came to Roy Jones and Mike Tyson. So let me put up the first fight. Okay. You see what we have on the screen so far as 1.2 to 1.5. So we put up the first fight. The fight that everybody remember, the creme de la creme. We're looking at the one and only Floyd Mayweather, who is one of the PPV kings. So number one, Floyd Mayweather, it tabulated about 5.77 million. You know what I'm saying? Those are some big numbers. Those are big numbers for PPV. Huge numbers. It's the highest boxing PPV of all time. And then when I heard this, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones breaking the numbers, and I was trying to tell people, I said, it's no way that it's breaking Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. I don't even think it's breaching the top 3 or 4. of all-time PPVs, right? They say this bout was one of the most highly anticipated fight of all times, with both fighters being at the very top of their game, while Mayweather was coming off a unanimous decision win over Marcos Maidana. Pacquiao was coming off the same over Chris Algieri. Mayweather won the bout unanimously to maintain his perfect record. Now, we know people are going to say what they say, about both fighters being at the top of their game in their prime or whatever you want to call it. But this is focused on the 5.77 million, which is fluctuated over time. That is the numero uno. Floyd and Tyson could in no way, shape, or form come close to this unless they had a 10-fight undercard. I'm talking about boxing mixed with MMA. That's the only way. They would have had to have a card that was full of freaking TNT. I mean, it had to have fighters that were so popular in the sport. I mean, I'm talking about it would have had to been an unbelievable dynamic that has never been accomplished in combat sports. It would have had to be cross promotion, some of the top tier names in mixed martial arts. And plus, you would have had to have some deep pockets, some investors, sponsors that was willing to put forth, the funding to make this happen. Number two. Now, number two, we remember this. People are going to talk about it forever and a day. And this fight right here changed the game. Floyd Mayweather, already at the top, but Floyd Mayweather was able to put his genius together once again and bring on board Conor McGregor. You have to include that he was a white fighter coming from mixed martial arts. That's what made people believe that it somehow, some way, him being a two-weight champion at the time, he was going to be able to come over here and cause Floyd Mayweather problems at his age. They consider Conor McGregor a young superstar that had knocked out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds, knocked out Eddie Alvarez. They consider him as a fighter in mixed martial arts that could potentially come into the ring and knock Floyd out just with his youth and athleticism. That's what they believe. Floyd allowed them to believe it. Floyd allowed Conor McGregor to get away with things that no man has ever been able to get away with Floyd. Conor McGregor patted him on the head like he was a little boy, dogged and disrespected his family. I'm talking about just loosely and temerariously. Just did some shit that Floyd would never allow happen. Grab his money bag, go inside of it. He hasn't allowed anybody else to do that shit. But he changed the fucking game, y'all. Floyd Mayweather changed the game. And it will always be promoters out here that's looking for this fight right here. The promoters are looking for this fight. This fight was a landmine. The fans allowed this fight to explode into incredible numbers, y'all. And it's something that wasn't even visible. Like, we didn't even have a clue as to if it could work. Will it work? All we knew was Floyd Mayweather was a part of it. And he had a lot of people doubting. And he picked the opportune time. That's why Floyd Mayweather is so genius. He allowed people to believe that Conor McGregor had the goods. He had the skills. Outside of the mixed martial arts cage, he could come over to the ring with boxing gloves on and still transfer his skill set over to potentially being Floyd Mayweather. Remember, if there's anything you listen to on this slide right here, this fight right here that sits at number 2 with an 0-0 fighter is just beneath the numbers of two fighters who's been boxing all their lives, who's been practicing, amateurs, all that shit. It's just beneath it in the PPV numbers. Floyd Mayweather versus the MMA guy. Of all the boxing history, I mean, I'm talking about as long as boxing has been in existence, all the promoters that's out here, all of them. No one never thought outside the box enough to say, let's put together a fight like this. Now, I have to say Floyd had a huge deal to do with this because I know behind the scenes he was like, "Connor, keep on doing what you're doing, man. Build this shit up the way it's supposed to, man. I'm gonna make a couple of promo videos. I'm gonna hop in the cage and make it seem like I'm coming over to mixed martial arts. I'm gonna do me, bro. But you do you. You keep on goddamn bumping this shit up. Keep on calling me out, doing this, that, and the other, and we're gonna go right to the Brinks, motherfucking headquarters, and we're gonna get paid. You understands me? Okay, straight like that. All right, cool. As long as boxing's been around, they have had fights like this. They had some similar fights. Muhammad Ali and Aoki. He was a wrestler. Of course, Muhammad Ali was a boxer. But in that fight, they allowed Aoki to kick Muhammad Ali. And that's another aspect that I appreciate about Ali, to take on a fight like that when his opponent can kick him. But anyway, that's besides the point. But as long as boxing's been in the game, cultivating the sport, the number 2 highest grossing PPV fight in boxing history is with the fighter who has no professional boxing skills. I'm telling you, people, every time I think about it, it's amazing. And people wonder why I cover boxing and MMA, because it's a unique enigma that presents itself with boxing and MMA. People will soon enough get out their head that they shouldn't tune in to MMA because they are a boxing fan. And then people in MMA shouldn't say, let's just exclude boxing, when mixed martial artists have boxing coaches all the time. The sport is forever evolving. And this fight right here is just so unique. It is legendary. Conor McGregor will always be in the same conversation as Floyd Mayweather with this fight, because he had 0-0. He had just gotten his boxing license, passed the medicals. Of course, he was going to pass the medicals because he was fighting actively with the UFC. And I have to say, what Conor McGregor did was legendary, for him to pick up those 2 titles. And then for him to cross over and fight Floyd Mayweather after he beat Eddie Alvarez and picked up his 2nd title. Never defended a title, never defended the featherweight title or the lightweight title. Moving on to number 3. But promoters will always be playing catch up to number 2. Always. They want that fight. They want that unexplainable, unpredictable combat sports meeting. And we all know what happened with this. Sugar Ray Leonard was out in 84, came back in 87. Many people say Marvelous Marvin Hagler took a dive in this fight. He came out and fought the wrong fight and everything. I like Hagler. To say he took a dive, it'd be pretty abrasive. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure that plenty of boxing fans will take that as being like, damn, I respect the shit out of freaking Hagler, but did he take a dive? I mean, what do you have to substantiate that? and they always bring up the fact that, how many fights did he have after this fight right here? How many fights did Hagler have after this Sugar Ray fight? Why did he come out and fight a different fight? How much money was his purse that night? Sugar Ray Leonard was out the sport because of his eye and came back from 84 to 87 and won this fight. But it grossed 3.15 million. You know why? Because Sugar Ray had been out the sport, but yet he still held value. Dude still had an interest for people to raise, an eyebrow and say, that's Sugar Ray Leonard right there. That's Sugar. That's Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Of course we're gonna pay for this fight. But people don't really pay attention to how special this PPV was and the two people that was involved, two boxing legends in their own right. You know what I'm saying? People don't really, put forth the 3.15 million back then. Look, we're talking about 87. 87. 3.15 million. This shit was at the top of the scale, y'all. It's amazing. Next, we go to number 4. And number 4 is, of course, one of those fights where it gets you into the groove to say, you know what, I wouldn't mind seeing Lennox Lewis come over here and fight Mike Tyson again. But Lennox Lewis is a different type of dude, though. He is, just like Holyfield. Holyfield's a different type of dude. Lennox Lewis is a different type of guy. When I see him in person every time, when he's commentating, he's in shape. I mean, you don't see a gut on Lennox. I mean, he seems like he's in pretty good shape. I don't know how he looks, how his body is conditioned boxing wise, but I do know aesthetically he seems like he's in pretty good shape. Coming in number 4 is Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson, man, 2.72 million. The 4th highest PPV bout was highly anticipated matchup between the unified WBC, IBF, IBO, and the Ring Championship. Lennox Lewis and former heavyweight champion Iron Mike Tyson. The fight sold an amazing 2.72 million PPVs. Lewis defeated Tyson by 8-round knockout. Now, this is for a unification, right? And the number 2 between Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor, what belt was on the line again? What belt was on the line? You have a fight like this that grossed 2.72 million. But what was on the line for number 2 again? Because it's just amazing. These guys put their life, their entire glass of courage each and every time. You know what I'm saying? That they're making sacrifices, and there's no way it could run it over because they was constantly taken from it. Because to be a boxer, especially back then in this weight class, you really had to be committed to it. And they was just keep going, trying to be the best. And both of these guys did damn good in their careers. You know what I'm saying? They did damn good. 2.72 million was damn good for PPV. Of course, you had Mike Tyson in there. This wasn't the best Mike Tyson. But listen, look at who we're talking about. This is the Mike Tyson that's sitting at number 4 with Lennox Lewis. That's after the Buster Douglas. After the Buster Douglas, y'all. Mike Tyson didn't really do any numbers like this. He don't have any numbers with any other fighters like this until later on in the back end of his career. It's a phenomenal thought process, huh? Mike Tyson, one of the most feared man, one of the fighters that you couldn't wait to get into the ring, or you couldn't wait to see him ring walk all the way down to step in there and get it in, because it's going to be somebody getting laid out, stretched, reclined under the lights, in any way you want to look at it. I mean, you knew that shit was going on with Mike Tyson, but he could not do what Floyd Mayweather was able to do. No matter if he feels a certain way about Floyd Mayweather, when he was knocking dudes cold out, he couldn't do it. Look at the last one. Mike Tyson comes fourth and fifth on this list, right? And it shouldn't be a shock. My boy Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson 2. Of course, people's going to pay to see that. But 2.67 came to see it, which is damn high, right? That's pretty good, right? But even after the ear biting and shit like that, I mean, this is not the Mike Tyson that was going and knocking chins into the bleachers. This was not the guy. But Floyd Mayweather can bring in an MMA guy with no boxing experience, and he sits second of the all-time grossing PPV fights in boxing. Damn near took the number one spot. Damn near could have took the number one spot with the guy who only fought amateur in Ireland and then turned mixed martial artist and, came into the UFC with 2 losses already and they end up taking 2 more losses. You know what I'm saying? Granted, those 2 losses on the back end were when he returned from Floyd Mayweather. That is facts, people. Well, I would say 1-1. I'll take that back. It was 1-1. It was 1-1. And what I mean by that, I have to give one side to the fact that Nate Diaz subbed him. But I was thinking more so of him returning off the fight with Floyd Mayweather. And one that he lost, took a beat to make him off. Which that was his return fight. And then one where he was subbed out by Nate Diaz at welterweight. So it was a 1-1. But most of all, Khabib, even the Khabib fight didn't give you that much energy than when he was stepping in there with Nate. Like people wanted to see him in there with Khabib, but Nate Diaz just gave that flair. You know what I'm saying? So he learned from Nate Diaz. Listen, Conor was a chameleon in this game. And there's mixed martial artists and there's YouTubers like Jake Paul who's trying to emulate Conor McGregor without the skill set. Listen to me when I tell you. Jake Paul is trying anything and everything to emulate himself like Conor McGregor because he want to make millions while he can. He want to convince people that what he's doing should be considered in line with some of the best boxing greats to ever do it, even though he's fighting guys who never freaking box. He's trying to emulate Conor McGregor, y'all. The 1-1 for Conor when he was subbed out by Nate Diaz, he came back and avenged that loss. He hasn't been able to get back in there with Khabib due to the fact that it was so disrespectful and malicious at what he was doing. And Dana White was the enabler to allow the promo to include a lot of that shit. Khabib doesn't feel he should have to fight him. But my point is this. Conor McGregor was able to do what he did, lose once before he left, and then once again when he returned. And he's sitting at the boxing, y'all. He's sitting at the boxing. Conor McGregor is sitting at the boxing. Highest grosses PPV with an all-time great. In mixed martial arts, Conor is not really considered an all-time great. Now they're going to consider him a legend. Why? This is why. Because what he was able to do when he fought Dennis Silver and then he moved up and earned another win. Dana say, okay, you get the title fight. He went in there for a title shot at 145. He looked dried the fuck up, but he made weight, everything. And he had fucked. He had goddamn mind fucked Jose Aldo so bad that when the bell rung, Jose Aldo wanted to go in there and damn punch through his skull. And Conor McGregor and Jose damn near punched at the same fucking time, and Conor knocked him out in 13 seconds. 13 seconds. Pow, gone. So what do he do? Dana White goes and make another fight with Nate Diaz. Conor McGregor goes from 145. Legendary shit. 145, people. He goes from 145. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. 145 in boxing is not a weight class, but it's a catch weight. It's considered welterweight, right? Just 2 pounds below welterweight. Conor McGregor went from 145 all the way up to 170. What? You're talking about 25 pounds? He went up to 170 to face Nate Diaz at welterweight and was subbed out in the second round. Rematch, won the decision. Dana White said, okay, if you want Eddie Alvarez, cool. He drops back down from 170 to 55 and knocks out Eddie Alvarez. All alone, he's calling out Floyd Mayweather. We can do this. We can make money. Let's go. This is an opportune time. I'm a 2-division champ. I got it done. I have a lot of momentum riding behind me. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. And man, Conor could smell the money. Conor could smell the fucking money. His team was happy. Dana was happy. Everybody was happy. Because you know what? They was robbing people blind to their face in broad daylight. When they came out with that $100 PPV, I knew the fight was going to do big, because you had people that was like, damn, I don't really want to pay $100, but I think this is the night Floyd get knocked out. I really think Floyd's getting knocked out tonight. SB90 in the building. Salute to you. Mark Nash, what's good? Holyfield deserves legend fights in 2021. Yeah, I'm about to get to that too, man. Salute to Mark Nash in the building. Appreciate your donation, King. You know what it is, man. Thanks for the support. You say, what numbers makes Triller event a financial success? Was Tyson versus Bolter PPV? I remember Bolter was doing good, but Tyson only need one punch to end it. Yeah, that right hand. And Francis Bolter was a big guy too. Shout out to Conor Loco. D-Ray, salute. WCS chat, World Combat Sports, live content, Mark Nash in chat. Fact Shields, about the PFL, good or bad for her. Good question, D-Ray. I'm gonna get into that, because I'm about at the end of this PPV. But so promoters are scrambling right now to make a fight that can emulate not Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, because you're talking about two boxing legends. But it's been proven, even outside of this number 2 fight, it's been proven that you can take some reality TV personalities with pretty decent athletic ability and put them on a real boxing card. You know what I'm saying? It's been proven the Zone was able to do it in this modern era. The Zone was able to do it, but it was 2 YouTube guys, and people tuned in to see the fight. Now it is resurfacing. It is resurfacing in a way that those 2 brothers, Jake Paul and Logan Paul, they're trying to make them out to be these unbelievable athletes who are boxers now. They have professional license, so they are considered professional boxers. So being that Nate Robinson is all over the social media, It would take a miracle for Jake Paul to even come close. Even if Logan Paul went in there with Floyd Mayweather, he wouldn't do the numbers that's number two. It's no way it can happen because he's not skilled enough to give people that fear that he can go in there and knock Floyd Mayweather out. See, with Conor McGregor, he had 2 championships. He was a 2-weight champion at the same time. He was the first ever to do it in the UFC. Now, since he's did it, you've had Amanda Nunes, you had DC. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you've had people, and then you had Henry Cejudo. You've had people accomplish that shit, but Conor McGregor was the first to do it. Now, for Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, of course, to have their people get a hold of the media and exaggerate these numbers, it was going to happen. Why? Because they had to sell it. They had to make it seem like it was doing better than what it was. So that's what happened, people. When I was telling you all on here, I say, man, those numbers are not doing what they saying they're doing. Come on, man. Did you see the weigh-in? Man, come on, bro. I mean, they was doing pretty decent. There's no way they was even touching the top 5 boxing matches. You know what I'm saying? It's just no way that was going to happen. Now, I want to tell you all something else too that people need to understand. The purses. The purses was quite different than what was being broadcasted. Both Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, they received $1 million apiece. Yes, you heard it right, y'all. Mike Tyson and Roy Jones both took home $1 million apiece. $1 million, y'all. Originally, it was stated that it was $10 million for Mike Tyson, $3 million for Roy. I was like, oh shit, that's good money, taxes and all that. Now they take home $1 million. Now it could be more behind the scenes, but for tax purposes, let's just say $1 million for the people. You know what I'm saying? Mike Tyson, hey man, and I don't think there's 10 million. I'm not trying to pay taxes on the 10 million, man. I told you that. I got a weed dispensary. I mean, come on, be nice. Be nice. I'm a different man. Come on. Don't put 10 million out there to the public. The tax man is on my ass. He was out there telling them that. But they took home $1 million apiece. Check this out, though. Nate Robinson, Jake Paul both took home $600,000 apiece. $600,000 apiece. When you have 2 boxing legends, once again, who has dedicated their livelihood, every breath, hours and hours and hours, countless days, months, years to the sport. And these guys take home 600. I mean, come on, bro. Come on. Okay, let's get to something else that's gonna blow your mind. Badu Jack. Badu Jack took home 180,000. 180,000. Badu Jack, who once again, blood, sweat, and tears, dedicated himself to the sport. He was paid less than Nate Robinson, who's never stepped in the fucking ring, and Jake Paul, who fought another YouTube personality. Both of them got paid higher than Badu Jack. You want to know what his opponent got? His opponent took home a whopping $20,000 for the beating that he took. Blake took a whopping $20,000 home, y'all. A whopping $20,000 home for that beating Badu Jack gave him. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just letting you know. I mean, it's not what it seemed. People up here, capping and making it seem like it was something more than what it was. But I'm just telling you that that's what happened with the money. So it was said that Roy Jones and Mike Tyson both took $1 million apiece. Then when it came to Jake Paul and Nate Robinson, they took home 600 apiece. Then Badu Jack 180,000, and his opponent 20,000. Yes. So I'm like, okay, how is that possible for Badu Jack? I already put it out there. I just don't think it's fair. He should have been up there just with them. I mean, he could have been up there in the pay scale along with Jake Paul and especially Nate Robinson now. Especially Nate Robinson, especially Jake Paul too, God damn it. I don't care if this is his second professional fight. He ain't fought nobody. I don't even call fighters bum, but God damn it, these two fights he had was bums. Period. Bums, in my opinion, are people that have very limited to no boxing skills. They're not boxers. Just because you go up here and pick up a license before Christmas, that doesn't make you a boxer. Anyway, moving on. Last on this subject, Evander Holyfield wants to smoke. And it's funny how all of a sudden the fight is over with Mike Tyson. And we was looking at Evander Holyfield running down the street making videos and shit. And then all of a sudden that shit fell off, right? And you're saying to yourself, why or where did Evander go? I thought Mike Tyson would be fighting Evander. That's what I thought. I thought Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, boom, number 3 is on deck. No, it didn't happen. So all of a sudden he gets out of there with a draw with Roy. And Evander Holyfield has surfaced and said, oh, this is in response to Mike Tyson's comments, who said that he I don't know what's going on with Evander's team. They're not moving him right. And we tried to talk to him, but they just won't sign the contract. And then Evander's like, that's bullshit. Y'all won't sign the contract. No more talking. Let's go. So Evander Holyfield has made it clear he wants to smoke all of it. He wants all the motherfucking smoke. And look, that might be the next fight with Triller. And y'all tell me, do you think Evander Holyfield is ready to come up here and give Mike Tyson the business? Do you believe he's at that point in his life where he's in shape to do that? So I want to hear from y'all. Do you think Holyfield is going to come back to fight Mike Tyson in the next one? And if he does, do you believe it's going to do higher numbers than Mike Tyson and Roy Jones? Being given the history that Roy Jones and Mike Tyson did not fight in their heyday, being that we have two fighters with a history, a very, how you put it, anchored history, a type of history where it will forever be the highlight in boxing when it comes to Mike Tyson, biting Evander Holyfield in both of his ears. How Evander was hopping around the ring, screaming and yelling to the Mills Lanes. And shout out to rest in peace to Mills Lanes, man. My favorite referee ever. He's complaining to Mills Lane that, hey, he bit me in my ear. Look. And Mills looking up at the ear. Granted, he's a prior Marine, so he looked at that shit probably like, man, you good. No. But anyway, he went over to the doctor. He said, I'm stopping the fight. He bit him. And then the doctor's like, no, we're going to continue the fight. The doctor said that after Mike Tyson bit Evander Holyfield's ear off, the doctor said, we're going to continue the fight. And they did. And then Mike Tyson bit the left ear. And they stopped the fight. Wild. Absolutely wild. But I want to see that fight. I think it does bigger numbers. To be honest, I think Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield would do big numbers. The trilogy. Even at this age, I believe it's going to do big numbers. Okay. Now, when it happens, I don't know. I know it's probably going to happen in 2021 because Mike Tyson, he's probably been at home in a motherfucking Epsom salt bath and shit. He probably ordered some damn salt from them damn volcanoes. He said, I just, I'm sore as shit. He said he made that video. He was in bed for a week. I can imagine how he felt, once he settled in and was moving and turning his hips and, throwing those punches, how he felt once he got home. You know what I'm saying? So it was wild. You know what I'm saying? Um, hey, and y'all go check out Line Killers podcast, man. Y'all check out because I'm gonna be going over there. Roy Jones Jr. is on the podcast right now. He Line Killer was able to lock on because his co-partner Nate Campbell is friends with Roy Jones, so they was able to lock on that interview. So I will be heading over there. But to answer D-Ray's question before I go is Shields. Okay, it's something that I'm trying to get some mixed martial artists to have a panel of some BJJ practitioner mixed martial artists, and I want to talk about that fight. I've actually reached out to Clarissa Shields, and like I've done so many times before, and if she chooses to talk about it, it would be cool. But anyway, not to give too much away without doing a special live on it. I just look at it like she has such a depth of learning to retain, which requires her to put in the mat time. There's no way around it. You have to put in the mat time because listen, they can put Clarissa Shields and sign her up for the PFL, Professional Fighters League. All right. The weight class that she's going to be contending at, from my understanding, is going to be Michaela Harris. So this was an Olympian. Okay, it doesn't matter if both of these women were Olympians. It doesn't freaking matter. All that matters now is whose skill set all around is sufficient to go in here in mixed martial arts. This is not a freaking restriction. When you jump in the cage, it's not going to be any kicks. It's just going to be punches. No elbows in the clinch. You can land some knees. No Muay Thai clinch. No toe stomping. No kicks to the front thigh. No spinning technique. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be a mixed martial art affair. So if they can get some lackadaisical, embryonic fighter in there that's still going through the early stages, then it will be okay. You know what I'm saying? She will be able to get 1 or 2 fights, 2-0, and she will be just fine. You know what I'm saying? For those 2 fights. But she needs to take time away from boxing, like I said, and immerse herself in the school and practice on her kicks. You know what I'm saying? Practice on her BJJ and put in the mat time. People, be sure you check out Mark Nash podcast tonight. I'm heading over to check out my boy Line Killer with Roy Jones. I really want to see what they have to say over there. And it's been a pleasure. I appreciate everyone who tuned in. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. You know what it is.